let's get into it. Let's eat. All right. Chapter 16, verse 1. One day, Samson went to Gaza, where he saw a prostitute. He went in to spend the night with her. The people of Gaza were told, Samson is here. So they surrounded the place and lay in wait for him all night at the city gate. They made no move during the night, saying, at dawn, we'll kill him. But Samson lay there only until the middle of the night. Then he got up and took hold of the doors of the city gate together with the two posts and tore them loose, bar and all. He lifted them to his shoulders and carried them to the top of the hill that faces Hebron. Sometime later, he fell in love with a woman in the valley of Sorek, whose name was Delilah. The rulers of the Philistines went to her and said, see, if you can lure him into showing you the secret of his great strength and how we can overpower him, so we may tie him up and subdue him. Each of us will give you 1,100 shekels of silver. So Delilah said to Samson, tell me the secret of your great strength and how you can be tied up and subdued. Samson answered her, if anyone ties me with 7 fresh bowstrings that have not been dried, I'll become as weak as any other man. Then the rulers of the Philistines brought her 7 fresh bowstrings that had not been dried, and she tied him with them. With men hidden in the room, she called to him, Samson, the Philistines are upon you. But he snapped the bowstrings as easily as a piece of string snaps when it comes close to a flame. So the secret of his strength was not discovered. Then Delilah said to Samson, you have made a fool of me. You lied to me. Come now, tell me how you can be tied. He said, if anyone ties me securely with new ropes that have never been used, I'll become as weak as any other man. So Delilah took new ropes and tied him with them. Then, with men hidden in the room, she called to him, Samson, the Philistines are upon you. But he snapped the ropes off his arms as if they were threads. Delilah then said to Samson, all this time you have been making a fool of me and lying to me. Tell me how you can be tied. He replied, if you weave the 7 braids of my head into the fabric on the loom and tighten it with the pin, I'll become as weak as any other man. So while he was sleeping, Delilah took the 7 braids of his head, wove them into the fabric, and tightened it with a pin. Again she called to him, Samson, the Philistines are upon you. He awoke from his sleep and pulled up the pin and the loom with the fabric. Then she said to him, how can you say I love you when you won't confide in me? This is the 3rd time you have made a fool of me and haven't told me the secret of your great strength. With such nagging, she prodded him day after day until he was sick to death of it. So he told her everything. No razor has ever been used on my head, he said, because I have been a Nazirite, dedicated to God from my mother's womb. If my head were shaved, my strength would leave me, and I would become as weak as any other man. When Delilah saw that he had told her everything, she sent word to the rulers of the Philistines, come back once more. He has told me everything. So the rulers of the Philistines returned with the silver in their hands. After putting him to sleep on her lap, she called for someone to shave off the 7 braids of his hair, and so began to subdue him, and his strength left him. Then she called, Samson, the Philistines are upon you. He awoke from his sleep and thought, I'll go out as before and shake myself free. But he did not know that the Lord had left him. Then the Philistines seized him, gouged out his eyes, and took him down to Gaza. Binding him with bronze shackles, they set him to grinding grain in the prison. but the hair on his head began to grow again after it had been shaved. Ah! Now the rulers of the Philistines assembled to offer a great sacrifice to Dagon, their god, and to celebrate, saying, "Our God has delivered Samson, our enemy, into our hands." When the people saw him, they praised their God, saying, "Our God has delivered our enemy into our hands, the one who laid waste our land and multiplied our slain." While they were in high spirits, they shouted, "Bring out Samson to entertain us." Y'all, this is too much for me, okay? So they called Samson out of the prison, and he performed for them. When they stood him among the pillars, Samson said to the servant who held his hand, "Put me where I can feel the pillars that support the temple, so that I may lean against them." Now the temple was crowded with men and women. All the rulers of the Philistines were there, and on the roof were about 3,000 men and women watching Samson perform. Then Samson prayed to the Lord, "Sovereign Lord, remember me. Please, God, strengthen me just once more, and let me, with one blow, get revenge on the Philistines for my 2 eyes." Then Samson reached toward the 2 central pillars on which the temple stood. Bracing himself against them, his right hand on the one and his left hand on the other, Samson said, "Let me die with the Philistines." Then he pushed with all his might, and down came the temple on the rulers and all the people in it. Thus he killed many more when he died than while he lived. Then his brothers and his father's whole family went down to get him. They brought him back and buried him between Zorah and Eshtaol in the tomb of Manoah, his father. He had led Israel 20 years. Y'all, all I got. Wow! Y'all, what? My eyes are burning. That was so good. Hey, Coach Jolly. So let's break it down. And thank you for sharing out the live. Reese, good afternoon. Let me make sure I didn't miss anybody. Okay. Caught up in the chat. Okay. This is... Okay, let's talk about Samson. Okay, Sandra, thank you for the heart me. Hey, TM. Hey, Kay. Welcome in. Good afternoon, y'all. So let's talk about Samson. So because he's such a... There's so many layers to him. There's so many layers to Samson. Okay? Yes, arrogant. Chrissy said arrogant. Come on. I'm joking. Okay. Hi, Sandra from Chicago. Hello. Welcome in. Samson was very arrogant. He was arrogant because, first of all, he had this strength. And as we're reading this, from the time he was born to the time he passed away, did he ever thank God for his gift? Did he ever thank God for his gift? We are seeing so many characters in here, and they're all different. Let's check the board. Let's I'm going to turn this around so we can check the board. I'm going to zoom in so we can check the board. Let me see. And now I'm going to move this. Okay? Let me make sure we can see the board on the other one. Give me one sec, y'all. I'm just making sure everything on the other stream is good, too. Crying enough. Heartache and pain. All right, let me zoom in. All right, I think we're good now. Thank you for your patience. So, what? No humility, right, Sandra? If y'all have any other characteristics that you can think about Samson, pop it in the chat. Pop it in the chat. What characteristics did Samson possess? Okay. We got arrogant, no humility, lunatic, okay? Very sporadic, yes. Okay. So as we can see here on this table, on this map, this is the map that we have created in Judges so far. Everything that is surrounded in red is when the Israelites were oppressed. Okay. Hi, Akira. Welcome in. Good afternoon. It's so good to see you, honey. All of the red is oppression. Okay. All of the blue is salvation. Okay. So it started when they started serving them bells and serving all them other gods, right? They started serving the bells, the Ashtoreths, all them other folks, and they would get oppressed. But let's talk about the characters that were called, the judges that were called to save the Israelites every single time. Every single time they was out here being funky, filthy, and stiff-necked, okay? So, oh, and thank you for 10K. Akira, yes. Okay, so when my babies went back to school, I had to change my live time to noon. So my live time is noon Eastern Standard Time because my babies are in school and, you know, I just work here as a mother, you know. So I'm their chauffeur and I drive them around in the morning and then I have to go pick them up. And in between, I stream. I'm not a rapper though. Okay. Now, Othniel was one of the first, was not one of the first. He was the first judge that was raised up, okay? Othniel was Caleb's nephew, okay? And Caleb, Akira, yeah, you guys turn your notification bells on so that you get notified when I go live. Right now, we've been sticking to the noon time for sure. I don't know if I'm going to switch it up during the holiday season. I think I'll just keep it, but then in the summertime, it'll go back maybe to mornings. We'll see. But right now, consistently noon o'clock, Eastern Standard Time, but turn your notification bell on, okay? So, Othniel, his character, and let me get he was called to be a judge, but he was called for his courage, okay? Caleb was looking around, and if you don't know who Caleb is, go read Numbers. Caleb is the guy who had great faith. I love Caleb. I want to get Caleb tatted across my forehead, but, you know, my body is a temple. Now, look, as I have a whole tattoo on my back, don't say nothing. All right. Othniel was courageous, okay? So I'm going to write here. See, I said don't say nothing about my tattoo on my back, okay? Okay? So I'm going to write courageous or courage, okay? Othniel had courage. Okay? Now, Ehud, what can we say about Ehud? He was, what's the word you can use for really with the stuff, okay? Because that's Shank Daddy. This is Shank Daddy. Okay, this is Shank Daddy. He carried that thing on him. He really about that life. He really didn't play no games. I would say courage as well. Audacity. He was audacious. Audacious. Okay? Shank Daddy was audacious. Chrissy said obedient, clever, Okay? This is good. Akira, you said you wanted more, but God was like, nope, I'm trying to tell you. Because what am I doing walking around with this on me? That just shows you that I'm human. Okay? I'm human. But we delivered. Amen? Yes. Okay. So then we had Deborah, Barak, and Jael. Okay? I would say that they also had courage. They also, what else can we say about Deborah, Barak, and Jael? I would say visionary, because Deborah was a prophet. Okay? Deborah was a prophet. Okay, thank you for the heart me. Barak was timid. Because Barak said, listen, Debbie, if you riding, we sliding, but if you not coming, I'm not driving. Okay? What's a word we can say for? Well, I'll write down this. I'll write down faith. We gonna need a bigger board, ain't we? Jael was stealth. What's the definition of stealth? Because I don't know. That's why we in here. We're all learning. I want to read out the definition. Cautious and superstitious action or movement. Design in accordance. No, that's not it. That's the wrong definition. Okay. Cautious. She definitely moved like James Bond, because when I say she gave that boy some milk, okay? She gave that boy some milk. Okay? Jael was, so we'll put stealth. Learn a new word today. Get out of here! This marker! All I got is these fat ones. I might have to go and see if I got a smaller marker. Okay? Timid, courageous. Well, courageous. Visionary, faithful, stealth. Okay? Ehud was obedient, clever, audacious. Othniel had courage. Gideon. What can we say about Gideon? Gideon was a very complex character as well. Y'all, let me go see if I can find my smaller marker, because obviously we're going to need more space, but it ain't going to be today. Give me 1 second. Pop in some characteristics about Gideon. What can we say about Gideon? I want to say Gideon was insecure is a good one. Insecure. Gideon was also, I would say Gideon was timid too. Please work. Gideon was also timid. I want to look for apprehensive is one. Apprehensive. He definitely became prideful. Uncertain and doubtful. Yes, yes, doubtful. Doubtful was the word I was looking for sure. Became prideful. He became prideful. Okay. Now, we had two leaders here that they didn't really talk about that much. They didn't really talk about Tola. They didn't really talk about Jair. But because they were leaders, I'm going to call them noble. Because they stood up and did the job, okay? Out of all those funky, filthy, stiff-necked Israelites, they did the job, and for somebody to be leading them funky, filthy, stiff-necked Israelites for 23 years and 22 years, they were noble. Okay? Now, Jephthah. Ooh. Let's talk Jephthah. What can we say about Jephthah? Jephthah, mighty. Courageous. Chrissy said courageous. Brave. Yes. Brave. Hero. Girl, Chrissy, come through with the... Come on. Yes. Heroic. Heroic is a good one. I love that one. Heroic. I know I'm running out of space. I know this is looking very, it's looking kind of congested now. We're going to work on it. We're going to work on it. So yes, okay? That's enough. That's enough for Jephthah. Okay, amen. Clap it up for him. Thank you, Sandra. Thank you for being here. Thank you guys for being in the audience. Okay, so now we get Ibzan, Elon, and Abdon. Now, again, these were leaders that they didn't really talk much about. So what can we say about them? Now, I said noble for Jair and Tola because they did it for so long, okay? They did it for 23 years and 22 years, okay? Then you have three other leaders, Ibzan, Elon, and Abdon, who reigned for 7 years, 10 years, 8 years. Now, we could call them noble as well, okay? We could call them, Chrissy, you said what? Faithful. Faithful. I would also say loyal and upright. Because we understand that somebody had to do it. Right? They needed leaders because when they didn't have leaders, that's where all this red come from. They was tripping. They just started doing whatever they wanted to do, serving whatever gods. They was serving them bells. They served the bells, okay? They was tripping. That's how they got oppressed by the Philistines, not once, but twice. You add these two up right here. You got them reigning over the Israelites for 58 years. That's almost 60 years of oppression because they want to serve them bells. They serve the bells. Come on. What? All right. So now we get to Samson, okay? And I thank y'all so much for your participation. Okay, so now we get to Samson. Now, we already started writing about Samson here, okay? For one, we knew he was a Nazarite, and he just said, we just said that he said it again in chapter 16. Akira, I love you too. I love you too. I love you too. Yes. I love you too, girl. But we also call him the Dexter of Israel, okay? Because in chapter 15, this dude was doing all types of crazy stuff. Not just chapter 15, in chapter 14, he was doing crazy stuff. Okay? Let me I need to move this. I gotta make sure my computer stays charged. Okay, so what else can we say about Samson? What characteristics does Samson exemplify? Okay? He over here tying up foxes, tail by tail. He tied up 300 foxes, tail by tail, and he set them on fire. And then he burned down a city because he tied the foxes together. 300 live foxes, burned their tails, set them on fire. Okay? What can we say about Samson? Wow! Because this guy is crazy. The maniac. He's a maniac on the floor, okay? Samson not only tied up the 300 foxes, he also, few screws loose, Tazzy. Baby. All the screws. Few screws tightened, okay? Yes, animal cruelty for sure. Let's see what we got. Dangerous. We're going to make a special list for Samson, okay? Dangerous. What else we got? Reckless. Reckless in all caps. Okay? Reckless. What else? What else y'all say? Lawless. Ooh, unrestrained. Y'all got some good ones because y'all can see. He's a maniac. Thank you so much, Kay. Appreciate you, lovely. Lawless. Unrestrained. Okay? He was Israel's most wanted. Okay? Israel's most wanted. Heartless. You know what else I want to add here? Ungrateful. Cruel. Dog, what good can we say about Samson? Come on. Okay. The last one, but what we can also say, he was strong. What else can we say? I will also say that he was faithful. Chrissy, anointed. Did I spell that right? Courageous. Okay? So look at that. Do we see how, look at this guy. Samson was dangerous, reckless, lawless, unrestrained, heartless, ungrateful, cruel, but he was also strong, faithful, anointed, courageous, fearless. Do you see how God is still using Samson, flaws and all? He used Samson, flaws and all, because he was the craziest character we have come across. When I say this dude was insane, Israel's most wanted. Okay. I would also even add strategic. Okay? Because there were many, many times, I know we say unrestrained, but at the same time, there were many, many times where he could have let what we didn't put is prideful up here. Gideon was prideful. Gideon was prideful. He wanted them chains. When he saved the people, when he heard that they was going to be delivered to his hands, he went and got his army at night, and told them to ride out, because now he confident. He got that pride. And when he defeated the armies, he wanted a chain. He wanted a fight. He wanted that shiny stuff. He was prideful. Samson, he been strong since he was born. Okay? He's been strong since he was born. He could have been told people, do you know who I am? He could have been told people, I'm sorry, but do you know what I can do to you? I can break you with my bare hands, baby. Do you know who I am? Samson never told the people how strong he was. Okay? Samson is the line between. Chrissy! Oh my gosh. Okay, you said perseverance. Okay, I'm gonna write that on the board too. Listen, Chrissy says Samson is the line between genius and insanity. And you know what? Psychopaths are very intelligent people. So it's not even a line. Like, psychopaths are very, very smart. So geniuses have the capability to be a psychopath, serial killer, and get away with it. Okay? They have that ability. Okay? Okay. Not Gideon. Samson could have been told to people how strong he was. In chapter 14, he tore a lion apart with his bare hands and then stuck his hand in a beehive to get some honey to take to his mother and father. I will also even add loyal. Now, what do we call a man with a wandering eye? Because Samson let the ladies, okay? Samson allowed the ladies to be his demise. Boom. There we go, Chrissy. Lustful. This didn't happen just now in the chapter that I read. This happened before already. When he married his wife, the Philistine woman. He married the Philistine woman. He wasn't supposed to marry the Philistine woman. Okay? He was never supposed to marry the Philistine woman, because in Deuteronomy, God said you're not supposed to be marrying anybody outside the Israelites anyway. You don't make friends with these messy, filthy, wicked people in this land. Now in Judges, what we saw in chapter 1, Chrissy, yes. What we saw in chapter 1 was that the Israelites had incomplete obedience, okay? They were supposed to drive out all these nations, okay? They were supposed to drive out all these nations and just take over this land. This is the promised land. All this is happening in the promised land. The land that the Lord had promised to them since Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy, okay? All this is happening in the promised land. All right. So they were never supposed to marry. It says that in Deuteronomy 7. Do not intermarry. Do not make friends. Wipe them out completely. Those were the instructions. Then we get into Judges, and the generations have progressed so much that these people do not remember what the Lord has done for them. They don't remember the Red Sea. They don't remember crossing the Jordan River. They don't remember Moses being on Mount Sinai. They don't remember the 10 Commandments. They don't remember. They don't remember nothing. That's why up in here you get ringing the bells, serving the bells, crying out to the Lord. Serving the bells, crying out to the Lord. Serving the bells and crying out to the Lord. Serving the bells, crying out to the Lord. Serving the bells, crying out to the Lord. Crying out to the Lord. Okay? That's how we get here. That's how we got here. So he was not supposed to be talking to this woman in the first place. But he lustful. He want a little piece of whatever pot looks good to him. Okay? He marries this woman in chapter 14. And then because he is reckless, he goes and gives the Philistine people a riddle. For what? For no reason. For no reason. He just want to play. He just want to play all day. Gives the people a riddle, and the Philistines went and threatened his wife to find out the answer, or they was going to kill her and her family. So now, because of his lust and him being with a woman who really ain't loyal to him, she trying to find out the answer. She doing whatever she can to get the answers to save her family. She's loyal to her people. He gives her the answer. He gives her the answer. And the Philistines come back with the answer. Now, when he gave them the riddle, he put some stakes on it. So he gambling. If y'all get the answer right, I'll give y'all some linen. If y'all don't get the answer right in a certain amount of days, you got to give me something. You got to give me some linen. So they find out the answer because they take it as, oh, this ninja trying to rob us. They find out the answer, but because he's strong, he just end up pounding on they people and taking the clothes off of their back and then giving them to the Philistines. But all of this was for what? All of this happened was for what? Because he was reckless. Because he was reckless. Okay? This is how I say these few chapters are like power. Okay? Now, after that, that's where he starts getting vengeance, and that's where the foxes come in. That's where he starts tearing down the city, and then he eventually defeats the Philistines and leads Israel for 20 years. But now I want to break this down line by line. Chapter 16, I'm going to break it down line by line. But I wanted to map out Samson's character because it is a very, very, what do you call those? He's a very, very developed character, okay? He's a very, very developed judge here, all right? So let's get into the line-by-line breakdown. Let me see if I can do this like this. I'm going to readjust something real quick, y'all. We got moving parts in here. So I thank you guys for your patience. Yes, sir. Oh, we in the game now. I didn't crack the code on making sure that we can see everything and everybody. Okay. Now let's talk about it. Okay? Verse 1. One day, Samson went to Gaza, where he saw a prostitute. Again, lustful. Lustful. He went in to spend the night with her. Lustful. Lustful. Okay? If y'all trying to see the words of the Bible, y'all know where to find it. Y'all know where to go. That's all I'm going to say. That's all TikTok is going to let me say on here. Okay? Now, the people of Gaza, verse 2, the people of Gaza were told, Samson is here. So they surrounded the place and lay in wait for him all night at the city gate. They made no move during the night, saying, at dawn, we'll kill him. Ooh. They always looking for him. They always, like, when I say Israel's most wanted, baby, Israel's most wanted. Verse 3, but Samson lay there only until the middle of the night. Strategic. Strategic. Then he got up and took hold of the doors of the city gate together with the two posts and tore them loose, bar and all. Okay? Bar and all. He lifted them to his shoulders and carried them to the top of the hill that faces Hebron. Verse 4, sometime later, he fell in love with a woman in the valley of Sorek whose name was Delilah. So far there's been 3 ladies that this man has been involved with. Okay, the Philistine woman, the prostitute he spent the night with, the sneaky link, okay, and now Delilah. The rulers of the Philistines went to her and said, see if you can lure him into showing you the secret of his great strength and how we can overpower him, so we may tie him up and subdue him. Each one of us will give you 1,100 shekels of silver. So now they bribing his main squeeze. Okay? Where's my highlighter? And it said each one of us will give you 1,100 shekels of silver. That's a heavy price. Main squeeze bribery. Exactly, Tazzy. Exactly. Main squeeze bribery is what we got going on here. Okay? Now, verse 6. So Delilah said to Samson, tell me the secret of your great strength and how you can be tied up and subdued. So now again, we have another woman here that's out for herself. Chrissy says all she saw was the dollar signs. Exactly. Just like his wife, his first wife, all she saw was her saving herself and her family. Okay, so she was out for self. There won't no till death do us part, because she won't try to be a ride or die in the first place. Okay? So now, verse 7, Samson answered her, If anyone ties me with 7 fresh bowstrings that have not been dried, I'll become as weak as any other man. Okay, verse 8. Then the rulers of the Philistines brought her 7 fresh bowstrings that had not been dried, and she tied him with them. Now listen, she tied him. Do y'all see that? She tied him up. His own lover tied him up. The rulers brought her the tools, and she tied him up. With men hidden in the room, she called to him, Samson, the Philistines are upon you. She's setting her own man up. She's setting him up. But he snapped the bowstrings as easily as a piece of string snaps when it comes close to a flame. So the secret of his strength was not discovered. Now, was it a secret anymore? Was it a secret anymore? Like, let's think it. Let's think about it. Let's break that down. He was being naive for real. Should we add naive to the board? Add naive to the board. Okay? Now it says, so the secret of his strength was not discovered. But if you go up to the top to verse 5, it says, the rulers of the Philistines went to her and said, see if you can lure him into showing you the secret of his great strength and how we can overpower him, so we may tie him up and subdue him. So the Philistines already privy to what he can do. Okay, I mean, come on, 300 foxes. Okay, so verse 10. Then Delilah said to Samson, you have made a fool of me. You made a fool of me. Tell me why. Okay? You have made a fool of me. You lied to me. Come now. Tell me how you can be tied up. You made a fool of me. Tell me how I can tie you up so I can get this money. Yes, hallelujah. Okay. Now, verse 11. He said, if anyone ties me securely with new ropes that have never been used, I'll become as weak as any other man. Okay? Now, would this make... I'm about to add another word to the board, okay? Because Samson, he giving a little bit of deceit. And this is not the first time we've seen it. Samson was given deceitful because his wife, when she was trying to figure out the riddle, he was doing the same thing. He was doing the same thing to the girl. And then also, he don't be telling nobody about his strength. Okay? He didn't even tell his own parents about his strength. Okay? He said, verse 11, he said, if anyone ties me securely with new ropes that have never been used, I'll become as weak as any other man. So Delilah took new ropes and tied him with them. Then, with men hidden in the room, listen, there we go again. Delilah then tied him up again. Delilah tied him up again. She's filthy. She's funky. She's a city girl. Okay? Listen. Then with men hidden in the room, she called to him. Samson, the Philistines are upon you. But he snapped the ropes off his arms as if they were threads. Verse 13, Delilah then said to Samson, all this time you have been making a fool of me and lying to me. Tell me how you can be tied. You made a fool of me. Tell me how I can tie you up so I can get this money, yeah. Okay? He replied, if you weave the 7 braids of my head into the fabric on the loom and tighten it with the pin, I'll become as weak as any other man. So, while he was sleeping, Delilah took the 7 braids of his head, wove them into the fabric, and tightened it with the pin. Again, Delilah did this, okay? She funky, she filthy. Not Kelvin said sounds like 2025 to me. Oh, come on! No, you cool. You good, Anne-Marie. Thank you for being here, love. Okay. Again, she called to him, Samson, the Philistines are upon you. He awoke from his sleep. Okay. Can y'all see that? He awoke from his sleep and pulled up the pin and the loom with the fabric. Then she said, how can you say I love you when you won't confide in me? Bae, how you gonna say you love me, but you don't want to confide in me? Jody don't love me. Jody don't love me no more. Okay? This is the 3rd time you made a fool of me. Tell me why. Okay? This is the 3rd time you have made a fool of me and haven't told me the secret of your great strength. All right? With such nagging, she prodded him day after day until he was sick to death of it. Oh, nagging! Oh, nagging woman! Doggone! So, he told her everything. Now, this is not the first time this has happened. His first wife cried for 7 days. Ah, please, baby, please, tell me the riddle, please. Tell me the answer, baby, please. Jody don't love me no more. You made a fool of me. Like, can you imagine, like, how irritating that had to be? Okay? Can you imagine? Okay? Now, verse 17. Since she was getting on his nerves so bad and doing all this mess, all right? Okay, okay. That used to be one of my favorite one of my favorite shows. So thank you, because I really love that. Okay. So he told her everything. No razor has ever been used on my head. Naive. Because how you gonna tell this young tenderoni, but wouldn't even tell your parents? Okay? So he told her everything. Not turning on, girl. No razor has ever been used on my head, he said, because I have been a Nazarite, dedicated to God from my mother's womb. If my head were shaved, my strength would leave me and I would become as weak as any other man. I'm going to highlight this. Okay? She got him, but so did the other woman, Latoya. His first wife got him. And now Delilah got him too. Because he's lustful. He's lustful. He can't keep it in his pants. Okay? These men gotta have a little couth, Samson. Have a little couth. Okay? Now, when Delilah saw that he had told her everything, listen, gotcha, B. Okay? Gotcha. She sent word to the rulers of the Philistines. Listen, out the gate. She was ready for that munyan, okay? Ready for the munyan. She sent word to the rulers of the Philistines. Come back once more. He has told me everything. Oh, I got the tea, baby. I got the tea, baby. Come back. I'm ready for them shekels. Let me get them shekels. Let me get them sanctuary shekels. Okay? So the rulers of the Philistines returned with the silver in their hands. Look, Delilah over there like, yeah. Yeah. Okay. Delilah over there like, yeah. Okay. Listen. After putting him to sleep, not put him to sleep. After putting him to sleep on her lap, she called for someone to shave off the 7 braids of his hair and so began to subdue him, and his strength left him. Exactly. Emery said, nothing to do with love. What's love got to do with it? Nothing in this case. Absolutely nothing. Okay, verse 20. Then she called Samson. The Philistines are upon you. Still trying to throw him off, okay? He awoke from his sleep and thought. Kelvin said, hold on, are we missing something? Put him to sleep. Now, do we really need to get into that, Kelvin? Because you said the ladies, it sound like the ladies in 2025. How the ladies putting them to sleep? No, seriously. Are we missing something? After putting him to sleep on her lap, all right, how else she gonna put him to sleep? Now, Jael here, she put Sisera to sleep by giving him some milk. Okay? But as we can see in this story, Samson can't keep it in his pants. So when I'm thinking, put him to sleep, okay? How else is she putting him to sleep? Now he went to sleep on her lap. Now she sang him a song, Tezzy. Okay? Now look. His strength left him. Verse 20. Then she called, Samson! The Philistines! The Philistines are upon you! He awoke from his sleep and thought, I'll go out as before and shake myself free. But he did not know that the Lord had left him. Hello? Lord, where you at? But he did not know that the Lord had left him. Gone with the wind. Bullseye. Okay? The Lord had left him. Verse 21. Then the Philistines seized him, gouged out his eyes. Gouged out his eyes. The Holy Spirit left. Yes, they gouged out this man's eyes. Now this is gory. Gouged out his eyes and took him down to Gaza. Binding him with bronze shackles, they set him to grinding grain in the prison. Now he lied up, won't let him out. Won't let him out. He locked up, won't let him out. No, won't let him out. With no eyes. Lord Jesus. Lord. I told you he was Israel's most wanted. He was Israel's most wanted, and they got him. Oh my gosh. Chrissy said, I mean, he couldn't see Delilah plotting anyways, so I guess God said he ain't need these. You know what? Them eyeballs, boop, boop, I'll take them. You don't need them. You don't need them. You couldn't see what the wife was doing either. Samson definitely got taken for a ride. Rissy said he was blinded by her beauty. It ain't your beauty, it's the booty, okay? Because he was just laid up with the prostitute. Okay? He was just laid up with the prostitute out the gate. Verse 1, chapter 16, verse 1, he was with prostitute booty. Okay? In chapter 14, he had a whole Philistinian wife. It ain't the beauty, it's the booty, okay? Okay? So, in chapter 15, verse 14, it reads, As he approached Lehi, the Philistines came toward him shouting. The Spirit of the Lord came powerfully upon him. The ropes on his arms became like charred flax, and the bindings dropped from his hands. The Spirit, yeah, I'm on it right now, Kelvin. I'm on it right now. You can see the text on YT. The Spirit of the Lord came on him in chapter 15, okay? But here in 16, in verse 20, but he did not know that the Lord had left him. So the Spirit has left the building. The Spirit has left the building. Okay? So funny, yes. The Spirit has left the building. Verse 23. I'm just so sad. This man don't have no eyes. Lordy. What in the Ray Charles is going on here? All right, verse 23. Now the rulers of the Philistines assembled to offer a great sacrifice to Dagon, their god. Okay? And to celebrate, saying, Our God has delivered Samson, our enemy, into our hands. Now, let's be mindful. God, the little g, not the big one. God, little g, not the big one. God, little g. not the big one. Okay? He ain't got no eyes, no hair, no Delilah, no Holy Spirit, just nothing. He has been stripped down to the ground. I guess the only way he could go was prison, because they about to make him bend over and cough. Okay? Now, our God has delivered Samson, our enemy, into our hands. Okay, so now they praising their God. When the people saw him, they praised their God, saying, our God has delivered our enemy into our hands, the one who laid waste our land and multiplied our slain. Verse 25. While they were in high spirits, they shouted, bring out Samson to entertain us. Bring out the stuff. Bring out the stuff. Now they acting like Samson's a little show dog, okay? They done made the mighty warrior, the strong man, Mr. Incredible, a show dog. Jesus. Okay. So they called Samson out of the prison, and he performed for them. If you want to go and take a ride with me, and the man and stand in the bean. Okay? When they stood him among the pillars, verse 26, Samson said to the servant who held his hand, put me where I can feel the pillars that support the temple, so that I may lean against him. Because remember, he on his Ray Charles. Okay? Verse 27. Now the temple was crowded with men and women. All the rulers of the Philistines were there. All of them. Everybody came out. Hey, he done brought the city out. Samson the show dog done brought the city out. Okay, all the rulers of the Philistines were there, and on the roof were about 3,000 men and women watching Samson perform. Who trying to come up? Reese, you trying to come up for real or for fake? Let me know. Oh, it disappeared. Okay, never mind. Okay, and on the roof, there were about 3,000 men and women watching Samson perform. He done brought the city out. Okay? Verse 28. Then Samson prayed to the Lord. He prayed to the Lord. Sovereign Lord, remember me. Please, God, strengthen me just once more. And let me, with one blow, get revenge on the Philistines for my 2 eyes. Now, I don't know. How y'all feel about this prayer? Because, okay, on the one hand, the Philistines are the chosen people's ops, okay? On the one hand, the Philistines are, the enemy. On the other hand, he's asking to get revenge. Exactly. Mom and boss. That's why it was like, he's praying for revenge. Okay, Chrissy, that's good. Chrissy says, okay, let's read about it. Let's read this. Mom and Boss says seems self-serving. Tazzy said, I feel like he is praying for revenge. Chrissy says he at least acknowledged this time that his vengeance came from the Lord. True. At first, he wasn't praying like that at all. Now, back when he got the Philistines, he defeated the Philistines, he went and asked the Lord, like, yo, God, I'm thirsty. What you up here doing? I'm out here serving you and stuff like that. You ain't gonna give me no water. What's up? That's basically how he was talking to God. This time, he's like, oh, God, please. me, please, God. I need your help to get out of this one. Help me, please. Okay? But I mean, at the same time, you would pray like that if you ain't got no eyes. Okay? This goes to show. Y'all better be grateful now for what the Lord is giving you. Because as he give it to you, he can take it away. Okay? As he gives it to you, he can take it away. Okay? So he's praying for strength to go against his enemies. Okay? So this is a very layered prayer. Okay? Because it shows us a few things. 1, he's praying to the Lord. 2, he believes in the Lord. 3, he's still trying to serve the Lord. Okay? But at the same time, Samson, Dexter of Israel, we should have did that from the beginning. Okay? Keep the energy. Use that energy next time quicker before you lose your eyes. Okay? All right. Verse 29. Then Samson reached toward the 2 central pillars on which the temple stood, bracing himself against them, his right hand on the one and his left hand on the other. Samson said, "Let me die with the Philistines." Then he pushed with all his might, and down came the temple on the rulers and all the people in it. Kerplunk, boom, ba-doom, da-doom. Okay? Thus, he killed many more when he died than while he lived. Okay? Y'all like the theatrics? Mom and Boss, thank you for the follow. Thank you. Okay, verse 31. Then his brothers and his father's whole family went down to get him. I didn't even know Samson had brothers. He definitely prayed suicide. Okay? He prayed to die. And he actually did die. So then that made me think, did Samson go to hell? What y'all think? Because he prayed to die with the Philistines. And then he did die. Okay, he doesn't? I don't know. We gotta look into that. Oh, okay. See? I'm just beginning. Okay, Chrissy said it's in Hebrews. He doesn't go to hell. He doesn't go to Heliante. Amen. All right. So, verse 31. Then his brothers and his father's whole family went down to get him. They brought him back and buried him between Zorah and Eshtaol in the tomb of Manoah, his father. He had led Israel 20 years. Amen. Emery said, it definitely shows watch what you pray for. Chrissy says he doesn't pray to unalive himself. He prays for vengeance, and God honored it because that was already Samson's assignment. But he did pray to die, though. But that also, like, what leader was this? Jephthah? He added on extra stuff. Okay? Samson could have just said, please, God, let me defeat the Philistines. Okay? Samson could have prayed for his eyes to come back. Okay? Samson could have prayed for other stuff. He prayed to die in the fight. Jephthah made a vow to the Lord where if he defeated the Philistines, then whoever came out of his house when he returned home after the defeat, he would give to the Lord. And his daughter walks out the house. So he gave his daughter for no reason. Like, the Lord didn't ever say, you have to make a vow to me for me to do the thing for you. He never had to do all that. Samson never had to pray that he died in defeat. Okay? Anne-Marie said, watch what you pray for. Listen, I agree. Wait, when the razzle dazzle. Tell the Lord what you need. Let him work out the specifics. Adding all that extra stuff in. I ain't trying to impress God like that now. He loved me. We don't have to do that much extra. He's going to give it to us. Woo! Because the fact that Jephthah lost his daughter and Samson lost his eyes and died. Come on now. All right. How we feel about that? How do we feel about chapter? He said, you said, where does he see? He said in verse 29. Because Chrissy said, where are we seeing that he prayed to die? In verse 29, then Samson reached toward the two central pillars on which the temple stood, bracing himself against them. His right hand on... Oh, wait, this is verse 30. Samson said, let me die with the Philistines. That's verse 30. Samson said, let me die with the Philistines. Then he pushed with all his might, and down came the temple on the rulers and all the people in it. Thus he killed many more when he died than while he lived. Okay. So Chrissy said she didn't take that as a prayer. What y'all think? Do you think he says this as a way to have the oomph? Okay, yes. Okay, I see what you're saying. Okay, so in verse 28, Samson prayed to the Lord, and there's an open parentheses. There's an open parentheses where it says, Sovereign Lord, remember me. Please, God, strengthen just once more and let me, with one blow, get revenge on the Philistines for my 2 eyes. So he said, I done lost my eyes. Lord, let me get revenge in one strike. Close parentheses. So yes, I get what you're saying, Chrissy. So it's not necessarily that he prayed to die. He didn't pray to die. But he did say, let me die with the Philistines. He did say it, though. Power of the tongue. He did say it. I'm sorry, but I'm never going to say that. Like, I'm never saying the power of the tongue. I'm not saying that stuff. So he might not have prayed to God. He might not have prayed to God to be unalived. But he did say, let me die. And y'all know how I feel at the end. And we're going to get into that power of the tongue. Okay? All right. I'm going to end this YT video here. Y'all, thanks for joining. Pop your comments down in the chat if you're watching it after. Love you. Bye.